Okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Is everybody able to see my screen?
Not yet. No. Now, yeah.
You can see it, right? Okay, good. One more minute to go, and then we'll get started. So today we are going to talk about sales SOQL and SOSL. Okay, so let's first understand what these are and what is the purpose for them, and then we will do some examples. Okay, so the first one we have is called as the SOQL. So if you are from database engineer or you have worked with MySQL, then there is something called as SQL. It is basically a query language, and SOQL is very similar to SQL. The syntax is very, very similar. So if you know a little bit of SQL, you can figure out SOQL as well. SOQL is basically a language to query. Okay. Now, in your when you're writing Apex code, you will have to retrieve data from the database, right? How will you retrieve it? So you will write these SOQL statements, and these SOQL statements are applied onto a one particular object. You know on which object you are querying and what fields to query. Okay, so you can't use like in SQL, you can say something like select star from this table. That is allowed. Whereas in SOQL, you cannot do that. So this is called as Salesforce Object Query Language. Okay, so this is a query language. And how are you going to do? This is basically used to query information on the fly. And you will use a lot of Salesforce query language in Apex because let's say I want to retrieve all the accounts which belong to the industry technology. Okay, so how will you write? I would say something like select name which fields you are interested in. So you will specify those fields. Let's say you're interested in the name field, ID field, and then let's say account number field. And so first you will mention all the fields that you want to retrieve, and then you will use the keyword from, and then you will use the keyword, the name of the table from which you want to retrieve. So here we want to retrieve from the account table. So you will say select ID, name, account number from account. Now this will return all the accounts that are available. Now let's say you're only interested in the 50 accounts, then what will you do? You can put a limit here saying 50. So it will only retrieve 50 account records. But let's say you're interested in the account where the industry is technology. So then what you can say you will remove this and you will say where everything as it is, and then at the end you will say where in industry is equals to technology. So this is how you write a Salesforce object query language, and I'll show you different ways here. So let's say we go to the extension pack, and here I would say select and ID, comma name from account. And I'm using this extension, and I will recommend you to download this extension. It will make your life much more easy. So it gives you the list of tables. It also gives you the columns that particular table has, so you don't have to go and retrieve that information. So you can, how many columns I'm retrieving? I'm retrieving 3 pieces of information: ID, name, account number. From which table? From account table. And I'll run this query. So how many records I have? I have total of about 141 records. Now let's say I wanted to only pick up 50 records. So I can put a limit as well. And this will give me only 50 records will be retrieved, top 50 basically. And then let's say you wanted to order them based on the created date. So you can say order by, you can use this order by as well. And then you can specify in which order, ascending order or descending order. So you can, based on the date, it will arrange it. And then you can use either the ascending, so it will arrange it in the records which got created first will be shown first. The records which were created lately, those will be at the end. Descending is the opposite. The ones which are created first, later will be shown first. So these are the order by as well. Now here, if you are interested in specific records, so let's say you're also querying the industry field as well, and you are saying that give me all the ones where the industry is not equals to, or where industry is equals to engineering. Okay, so this is going to give you all the accounts where the industry is basically engineering. Okay, so you can do a where clause. So this is how you write these simple SOQL statements. Now you can also, let's say, want to retrieve the parent as well as the child records. Okay, so let's say I want to retrieve the account as well as the contacts associated with that account. So how will I do it? You can write an inner query. Okay, so you can say something like select ID from ID comma name from, and here you can specify these are all the account object has relationship with. So I want contacts. So what will it give me? It will give me accounts, and it will also give me the contacts which are associated with that account. So let me remove this where clause because these one didn't have it. So now if you scroll to the right, you will see contacts. These are the account, and these are the contacts associated with that account. So this is a inner query you have written where you are querying the parent, and then within the parent, you're also querying all the child. Now, let's say from the child, you want to go to the parent. You can do that as well. So if let's say here, I want to say select ID from contact. Okay. Now I also want account name as well. So here I can say select ID comma name comma account dot of name. And you will see it will give you account name as well. So you can query the parent record fields as well using this dot notation. Now this is for standard objects. Now, if you have custom objects as well. So if in my org, first of all, any questions till this point?
So we can query child records as well as account records, right?
So in this case, account is a parent and contact is a child, right?
Right. How about vice versa? If you want to just query contacts from accounts, we can do that too.
We
Correct?
just saw that. So if you, so if we did something like this, select ID, comma name from account. So this will give you account ID and name, right? If you want contacts also, so you will write an inner query saying select ID, comma name from contact. So this will give you, sorry, it's contacts. The relationship field is called contacts. So see here, these are all the contacts tied to edge communication.
Right. And if there is like if there is a field with like lookup relationship or as an object, or like a field in another object that has a lookup relationship, like
Yeah.
an account, we can query that too, right?
Yes. So let's say in this org, I have these standard objects created. So if I go here, you will see this is the object manager. I have a shoe inventory object. Okay. And this object has a relationship to, let me see what it has relationship with. Does it have relationship with account? No, but shoe order. So this is shoe inventory, and there is a shoe order object, and this is a custom object, and this object has the relationship with account. You can see here, account underscore underscore C. Okay, this is the field name, account underscore underscore C. So which is the parent in this case? Shoe order is the parent or shoe order is the child?
Child.
Shoe order is the child of the account. So if I want, so this is the custom object. So how will you do it? Select ID from shoe order. Okay, this is my object. And then let's say ID comma name. And then here you can see account underscore underscore R dot of name. So if it is, you basically look at the field name, and if it is a custom field, you will just replace underscore underscore C with underscore underscore R. So here you are querying the parent field using the child record. So if I run this query, you will see that these are the shoe order, and with this shoe order, this is the account name. So through the child, you are querying the parent. Okay. Now from the parent, select ID from account. Here I can also query select ID comma name from shoe orders. You see here, this is how underscore underscore R. So you have to replace the shoe order underscore underscore C with this underscore underscore R, which is the relationship field. So now this will give you account information and also how many shoe orders are associated with that account. So did you understand this concept of underscore underscore R?
Yes. So in R means related. So
Yes.
we need to replace C, which is custom to with R. Yeah, I understand that.
Okay. Only for custom objects. Standard, you need to know for contacts, it is called contacts. For opportunity, it is called opportunities, things like that. But for standard, if the object name is shoe orders underscore underscore C, the relation would be shoe orders underscore underscore R.
One more question. What is the governance limits when it comes to SOQL queries? Is there a
So
limitation like I don't know
yes,
how many because we can pull?
so governor limits are basically, if you look at the governor limits, it is based on the synchronous versus asynchronous limit. So if you're running an operation in a synchronous mode, synchronous means something you executed, it happens right away. You're waiting for it to happen. Asynchronous means it is like fire and forget. You fire something and then you forget about it. Okay. So here you can see this is the governor limits, and here you will see the total number of SOQL queries issued is synchronous. If you're running the code, it is 100, means you can have 100 SOQL queries. Asynchronous, it bumps up to 200. Okay. Total number of queries retrieved by SOQL, it is both similar, 50,000. So you can retrieve at once, you can retrieve up to 50,000 records in the single SOQL queries.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Within one single transaction.
Yes. So
And
these are the different governor limits that are available. And governor limits are basically the rules which Salesforce has set up, because Salesforce is a multi-tenant environment. When I say multi-tenant, which means multiple tenants are using the same infrastructure, the same kind of storage, the same kind of resources. So it wants that nobody, one particular org doesn't monopolize these resources. So they have put this governor limits, and anytime you cross that governor limit, your program is going to abrupt right away. You cannot handle a governor limit. You cannot put a try catch and handle a governor limit exception. Okay. So governor limits is something you have to work within that limit. At any point, if you cross those governor limits, you basically are going to stop in between and your program is going to end abruptly. Okay.
yeah, thanks. And so in SQL, we have like a merge and other functions. Do we use those in Salesforce too in such
No,
a
so we do have, most of the time you will have order by, group by, all of that, and I will come to those topics. But no, merge, I haven't seen it.
Thank you.
Okay, so here let's talk about this. So what is SOQL? SOQL is used in Apex to retrieve data from Salesforce objects similar to SQL in databases. It basically lets you fetch records from both standard object we have seen, and also if you have any custom object, you can retrieve from custom objects as well. And this is the basic syntax. Select the different fields that are available, and you can only specify the object name. You should know from which you are querying. SOSL queries, which we are going to cover next, those you can query across multiple objects. Okay. SOQL, you basically can query one object, which you should know that which object you are querying upon. And then if there is a where condition, you will specify the where condition. And then if you want to order the records, you will specify what field you want to order the records with. And then if you want only a specific number of records to be returned, you can use the limit function, limit as well. Okay. Now here, the next important thing is the simple SOQL query. So here you can see if I run this example, what am I doing in this? Very simple. I'll go over to my org. Developer console. And over here, file, new Apex class, simple SOQL example. You already had that class name. And over here, I'm going to create a run method. And okay. So what is this query doing? This is how you will write it inside of a Apex class. So you will say something like this, or you have different ways. You can query it like this, and the result of the query, you will put it into a list, as you can see here, or you can put the entire query within this for loop also. That doesn't mean that the query will run inside of a for loop. It means it will return the records, and then you are using this for loop to iterate over the records it has returned. So what are we printing here? We are printing the name of the account and the industry of the account. Now, why do I have a problem? So this is the class, okay? And inside of this, I have a method. And this is my for loop. This is where the method ends. And then I need to close this class as well. Okay. So everybody understood here? I can either write it here, or I can paste this entire query in the place of account list. Both are one and the same thing. So if I execute this, how will I execute this code? What do I need to write here?
SOQL example.run.
Very good. Okay, so here I'm going to go ahead and execute it, and you will see that here it basically gives you all the accounts that are there and their industry as well as the name of those accounts. Okay, so you can see here every debug statement has been printed. So there are a total of about I believe 150 records or 151. So you are seeing all those account names here. Now, if you wanted to, where is it? One second. Okay, so here, this is how if you have a where clause, you will specify the where clause like this. You can also use wild characters. Now, when I say wild characters, very simple. So if let's say there is this, this is the query, select ID, comma name from contact. And here, if you don't know, and if you only are interested in specific names and you don't know what the name was, you can use where name like, and you can use while character. So let's say you are sure of the first thing. Okay, you're sure of the first name. Edna, but you don't know the last name. So you will say Edna and then you'll put a percentage sign, which is a while characters. That means anything can come in place of this percentage sign, any number of characters. But the first name needs to be Edna. So when I run this query, it will fetch all the records where it matches. So there's only one record, Edna Frank, which has Edna in the beginning. Okay, so here you can, if you don't know the exact matching, you can use this like operator and then you can use this percentage sign as a wildcard character. If let's say you put a wildcard in the beginning as well, that means that Edna should be in the middle, somewhere it should be there. Anything can be before, anything can be after. So here, if I go ahead and run this, the query might just give you the same result because there's only one record which has the name Edna in there. So this is how you can use while characters also. Now you can order the records. So let's say this is the query. And what are we doing here? We are querying the, what all columns we are querying? We are querying the ID, name, annual revenue from the account where industry is technology. Let me just remove the where clause. And we are basically ordered by this descending order. So first the most annual revenue record will come, then the least one. So if you see here, basically none of these accounts have any, let me remove the limit clause. So let's see if annual revenue is there. So first there's empty annual revenue, and I think looks like all the records. Okay, so you can see a descending order. So the blank one came first, and then you can see this is the order in which these annual revenues have been organized. So they have ordered it based on the annual revenue. Okay, so you can use an order by clause to order the records with the basis of annual revenue. If I use where here, where annual revenue is not equals to empty, or you can say is not equals to null.
There is something called nulls first, but is there any keyword that is on the other side? Like,
I think it's not null in the text.
Wait a minute, from account, where annual revenue is not equals okay. So here you will see you have not equals to null, and then you can see here that it's a descending order. So first the annual revenue with the maximum value. If you do it in the ascending order, then it is going to be in the reverse order. And if you don't do anything, so it should be in the ascending order by default. Okay. Now there is also the in operator. So let's say you want select ID from select ID comma name from account where name in. So if you don't know all the accounts, so you can say stride gear. Let's say you wanted records which are in these specific, let's say we do this, select ID comma name from opportunity. Okay. Now this is the opportunity one. Now let's say you're only interested where stage name in. You can specify closed lost, you can specify closed one and put a comma in there, and then let's say prospecting. Okay, so now it will only give you those records where either the stage name is closed one, or it is prospecting, or it is closed lost. So if you see here, only those records will return where the stage name is one of these. So you can see here, this is another in clause which will give you those specific records only which belongs to a certain one. So you will use in clause a lot as well. Now, the next one we have, any questions so far?
Do we use contain too? Is that a keyword like contain? That's same as like or something.
For your stage name. No, no,
Okay.
I haven't. It includes, excludes one of these. Let's see what else it has. Like, not. Yeah, those are the only one.
So if we need to use contain, we can use like instead.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Then we saw parent to child. So parent to child is basically, we can use the inner query. Okay. And for the child to parent, you will use the dot operator. Okay. So here you can say this is the inner subquery that you have written. If you want to fetch related records in a subquery, you can do that by this way. And if you wanted to do it from child to parent, you can use this dot operator. So you can see here, account dot of name to query from the contact table, and you can fetch account fields as well. So you can see here, this is your child to parent query, where you have account as the parent, and then you're fetching the parent object field as well. Now, the next one we have is dynamic filtering, and this is where you will use it a lot. So dynamic filtering is, you don't know, let's say here, right? So this is the code I have, right? So in order to debug, open execute window. Okay, so this technology is coming from a, let's say from a flow. Okay, let's say from a flow, this technology value is being passed, or this industry type value is being passed. So here my query will change. So what will I do? This is called as dynamic SOQL. So dynamically at runtime, the industry type will be replaced by technology. And then here you're executing the query, and the results of the query, you are putting it into this list. And then you're iterating over all those account names. Okay, so in real world, you will use a lot of these dynamic SQL where you're not going to hard code the where clause. You will be passing those where clause values from a method or from a flow, and then you will use equals to and then this colon to replace at the runtime those parameters. So this is an example of dynamic SOQL. So what is going to be, so right now, what will it return? It will return all the accounts where the industry is technology. Let's say I change it to engineering, so it will give me all the accounts where the industry is engineering. So if I run this query, the output is going to be all the accounts where the industry is technology, and these are all the accounts. And if I go ahead and query the industry as well, and here I'm going to go ahead and specify the name, and plus I'm going to specify the industry colon space. I can say ACC dot of industry as well. And all of them will have the industry of technology. So if you see here, everybody is going to be technology. Okay, so that is called as the dynamic SOQL. So at runtime, it will be replaced. Okay.
So
Next one, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, for dynamic SOQL, whenever we have a variable that's passing to that
Yeah.
query, it's called dynamic, right?
Yes, because dynamically the value is changing.
Gotcha.
Okay. Then the next one we have is the aggregate. So aggregate SOQL lets you summarize the data in Salesforce using count functions, sum, average. If let's say you want to calculate minimum, maximum values, and clauses like group by. If you want to group all the records, let's say you want to figure out how many records of this particular record type exist in account. So it will basically, you will use group by and account, which will count the number of records by each record type. Okay, so you will use a lot group by as well. So let's say if you want to query how many accounts do we have per industry, if you want to do that. So this is how you can figure it out. So here you can run this query, and this query will result telling you that we have a total of 8 records of the type retail industry. Automotive has 2. There are about 109 records where the industry is not mentioned. Similarly, for engineering, you have 3. For education, you have 1. For technology, there are 7 records. So this is how you write it. Select the industry, count the number of records. So you're counting the number of records, and you name that field as total accounts from account, and you're grouping them by industry. Okay, so what it did was it counted how many records belong to each industry. And you counted if they belong to technology, you added them. If they belong to engineering, you counted those records separately. So this is how it queries the number of records per industry. Okay, any questions how we created this query?
So why we put ID in the parentheses? It means that it's count IDs.
So ID is unique, right?
Okay.
The most unique thing on a record is ID. So if you want to know how many records are there, how will you count them? You have to count them based on the ID field, which is because each record is going to have a unique ID. So you're counting the number of records that exist, grouping by that industry.
Right, but I didn't understand the first line after the comma. Count ID total accounts.
Oh, so total accounts is nothing but you named that field. So if you look at the result, this
okay.
is the total account. So this count ID, rather than, so if I remove this and you run this query, it will give you this expression 0. But
Yeah.
let's say you want to call this something else, total account total sets, or ACC total. So you're basically giving it, instead of expression 0, you created a column like account total. You named that expression. That's it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. So similarly, the result, whenever you're using,
One question. So the return of the count query is always with the number integers, right?
yes, it'll count how many records are there. Correct.
Okay.
Per that, like if you're doing a group by industry, group by something else, then yes, it's always going to be a number.
Okay.
Now here, always remember that the result of this type of query will be of the type aggregate results. Okay, so this is how you can use it. So anytime you're using group by all of these operations, the output is of the type aggregate results. Okay, and you can use that aggregate result to iterate over. So for example, if I go ahead and execute this code, you will see this query is returning you an aggregate result. And here you're iterating over that result one by one, and you are displaying how many records are there per industry. So if you execute this, it is pretty much giving you what the output of the query was. You're just using a debug statement. So it is saying retail is 8, null is 109, automotive is 2. So you can iterate over the result of this query. And this query, when you're using count, it is of the type aggregate result. Okay, so it's not a list of accounts, right? This query is not giving you list of accounts. This query is giving you the total count per industry. Okay, so whenever you're using a group by or these, the result would be list of aggregate result. Does it make sense?
So what is aggregate results here? Is it a kind of?
It's a class.
It's a
So
class.
if you go to a developer, if you look for it, you will figure out Apex. So this is how it is going to show, working with SOQL aggregate functions. So when you're using this average or count or any of those, so the result is going to be of the type aggregate result. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
So next one. Any questions, guys, before I'm going to the next topic?
Can you explain the last part, that list of aggregate results again?
Which one?
The list and then going to the for loop. So we can have like a collection in an aggregate results and use the for loop to go over them, right?
This query is not giving you just the account names, right? It is giving you a different type of result. That result is nothing but an aggregate result. So this query is giving you a list of aggregate result. And all you're doing is, just like you iterate over a list of accounts, you're iterating over the aggregate results.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay, and then based upon what columns you have in this query, you are using ar.of_get industry, and then the second column you had was total accounts. So you're saying ar.of_get total accounts. If I use ar.of industry, and here if I use ar.of total accounts. Oh, so AR doesn't have industry. So you have to use ar.of_get industry. And then here also you have to specify ar.of_get total accounts.
So basically we use get to just pull the records.
Yeah.
Right?
Wait a minute. Am I missing a quotes here? And then quotes over here. Yeah, so you are using the get so if you see here, let's look at the output. So if I want industry, see, this is dynamic, right? Let's say I do a group by something else, the result is going to change. Aggregate result doesn't have these columns. So you're using .of_get to get the industry value, .of_account total to get the account total value. Does it make sense?
Yes, basically we to pull it from database, we use get.
Yeah, to put it, if you are using aggregate result. If it was account, all you have to said was account.of_name and it will give you the name. Here we are using aggregate results. So they don't have the same fields as account object has. So here we are using .get and then we are specifying of which particular column we want the result for.
Got makes sense. Okay.
Okay. Then over here, the next one I showed you how to retrieve from the standard object and custom object, right? So we saw __c gets replaced with __r. And if you're doing a child to parent, it is dot operator. And if you're doing from parent to child, you're doing the subquery. Okay, so this is the simple one. Now, another important we have, because these are all simple. Okay, so this is all about SOQL. So you have group by, you have order, you have in clause, you have where clause. Those majority of the time you will use these to retrieve it. Okay, and you will also see grouping by, like, okay, group by this, then you will get the results. Now, the other one different type of query we have is a SOSL, Salesforce Object Search Language. So you don't use it too much, as if I have to pick between 70% of the time you will use SOQL queries, 30% of the time you will use SOSL queries. Now, SOSL queries are basically, if you want to search a given text across multiple objects, okay, let's say you're looking for this word John, it can be available in contact. Let's say it is available, can be on lead. So if you're looking for this John word across contacts, across leads, then you can use an SOSL query for that. It is basically used to search text across multiple objects and field at once. So if you want that, okay, look into the name fields, look into these specific fields on these objects, you can use SOSL query. It is perfect when you don't know which object the data might be in. So in the case of SOQL, you know that, okay, query the data from this specific table. But in the case of SOSL, you don't know which particular object you are retrieving the data from. So you are searching some text across multiple objects. That is when you're going to use an SOSL query. So for example, here, when will you use an SOQL? Sorry, one second. Okay, so in the case purpose, SOQL retrieves the record from a specific object, like we specified account or opportunities or cases. Here, it searches a particular text across multiple objects and fields. So you can specify that look for this text field in these objects. Okay, syntax is select the name of the fields from the object table name. Here you will say find keyword. Find is the where you started. Then you will specify look for a particular text in these objects and then return me these particular fields. Okay, so for example, the example of the SOSL query is like this. Find Acme, the word Acme in all fields. All fields means look across everything. And all fields, when I say it's only looking at account object, ID and name field, it is looking at contact object, ID, first name, last name, and account.name. So let me see, can I do, yeah, I cannot do it over here. So here, let me see, do we have, first of all, and the lead object, we have Deepika. So let's do this. So here I'm gonna go ahead and the output of this query is always going to be list of list. Okay, so for example, this is how it's going to be.
So Deepika is gonna be like a sort of a global search?
Yes, kind of like a global search. Okay, but let's say this is how you will write it. So find, let me say, find Deepika in account ID and name field, in contact ID, first name. So basically what you're doing, you're specifying that, okay, I want to look for this word Deepika in in two objects. Okay, one is the account object ID and name. Then also I want to look up in the contact object ID field, first name and last name. And the result of this is always going to be list of list as objects. Okay. And you can see here, so it is looking into two tables, right? One is looking into account table. So the result of this, you can get like this. So anything to do with account, it will be in the search list of 0. And since you're querying from the contact, it is in the search list of 1. You can also query from the lead ID, comma, first name as well, comma, last name as well. And here also, if you wanted to see the where in the lead object, so he will say lead list equals to pretty much search list would be 2 and list of lead. So it is basically giving you all the accounts where the Deepika came, all the contacts where Deepika came, and all the leads where Deepika was there. So when I execute this query, let's see what the output is. So here, what happened? There was no place where I just created it. Let me see. Okay, example of SOSL. So why didn't it give me in all fields returning account, first name, last name, lead, first name? Let me just get rid of lead for the timing and let's just do this and this and let's query this. So basically it is saying it couldn't find anything. So here, oh, it is in the leads, not in the, and let's see if there is an account. So we'll create an account here with the name Deepika. Okay. And we will save it. And we will, let's go to the contacts also. And here we will create an account Deepika. And then we will save it. So now if I run this query, and if you run this code, I'm expecting, oh, execute. So here you can see it is finding it in the account object and also on the contact object it knows. So if you want, I can actually put the contact first name. You can specify the contact last name plus contact ID plus con dot of ID. Similarly, here also you will have account ID, and here you will specify some space plus of acc dot of ID. And we execute it. So you're basically searching this text Deepika across account object, across contact object, and if you had lead, you could have searched in the lead also. But let's try to understand this code. Okay, so what this code is saying, the code is saying search for, guys, if you're not talking, please keep yourself on mute. So here it is saying find is the keyword. That's how you start the SOSL query. What are you looking for? I'm looking for this world Deepika. Where are you looking for? You have specified two objects, account object. Now account have 50 different fields. You're telling only look for ID field and look under the name field. Similarly, under the contact, look only at the ID column, the first name column, last name. If let's say the Deepika was available in the last name, but you didn't ask for it, then it is not going to look for that. So it is only looking up in these particular columns that you have specified. So how many tables you're looking up? Two tables. One is account table, the other one is contact table. Here, the search list 0 is giving you the records related to the account if it's available. Search list 1 is giving you the contact records. And then you're iterating over and telling that these are the records where the Deepika exists. Any questions on this one?
So search list 0 and 1 is based on the order, right?
Based on this order, this is your 0 and this is your 1. And if there was a lead, that will become search list of 2.
Gotcha. And if we want to just retain more than one field, how can we do that? So like for example, for this one, it finds the contacts and accounts. It search that name in contacts and accounts. But
Yeah.
for example, I want to just retain like contacts, like different fields in contacts, like first name, last name, I don't know, like for account, like first name, last name, industry, or something like that.
Yeah, so you basically go ahead and add industry in there too. So you look up in the industry also. Or you don't put it here, but then you got the list of accounts, you do another query and fetch the industry for that account.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. So this is how you write. Now, always remember, the result is going to be list of list, not a simple list. This is a list of S objects. So list of S objects and its list.
Deepika, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So is ID a mandatory field that you need to mention when you are doing returning?
Let's check it. It should be, but let's see. I'm not sure 100%. And let's just do this. I'm not specifying it, otherwise it's gonna get error. I don't think so. So here it basically gave, nope, it's not a mandatory field.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
So
Anything
also,
else?
Deepika,
Yeah.
yeah, so let's say I want to search Deepika in account object. I don't know whether it presented name or any other object, right? So do we need any other column, or let's say, correct? So if
So,
I need to search across all the columns, do I need to mention all the columns name
okay,
here?
so
Or-
then if you're just doing it on the account, then why don't you use SOQL queries?
No, no, I'm not talking. No, so let's say for SOSL, right?
Huh?
For one particular account, or let's say account and contact both, I need to search
Okay.
Deepika
Yeah, so
across
you're going to specify the fields. Yes.
all the
In
fields.
all fields, because whichever you're mentioning, right, it is only looking up in those places. So if you go here, if you basically returning you these fields in all fields.
No, because if I know where it is there, so I can use SOQL, right? SOSL is what I guess, what I.
In all fields, let me 1 second. I know what you're saying. You're saying this all fields should work, and it should work. And it is returning I believe it is in find search query. I was going to add on application. Returning. Oh, so yes, all fields means it will search for all the fields and it is only returning you those specific fields that you want. But it is searching across all fields of those two objects.
Okay, so you can please go back to that anonymous
Yeah.
window.
So let's do this. So let's go ahead and
So
how will
what this query means is, so this is searching in all the fields of account and
count and
contacts and
contact
returning
name
us
and
name and
yes, yes,
okay.
yes. Now, if I do only want to look up a phone field, you can specify these are the different ways you can specify. Name fields, it will only look at the name. Email fields, if there are email type, only look at those. Phone fields, and I don't know about sidebar fields. Yeah, so it is returning field spec is information to return in the search result. Okay, so in once it has found those fields, once it has found the text, only return those fields from those objects. But it is looking across all the fields of that object. Okay, why don't we test this one right now? So here, let's say Deepika, let's do one thing. You have account, and I am saying new, and the account name is XYZ. And Deepika is present over here. Okay. Now let's see how many accounts did it return. So it's looking at the website field and we put the see here. It returned you Deepika and it returned it is only looking at the name field. 1 second. Why is it not pulling up the second account? Is it no, wait a minute. Looks like it is only looking at the fields that you specified, but the documentation doesn't say that. Let me see, what was it? XYZ event. So this is my account name. And in the website, I put Deepika. Let me do one thing. I will put it at capital letters just to match the case sensitivity. And here, let's go ahead and do this. Deepika in all fields. Yeah, it is returning, it is checking across all fields and only giving you the information that you mentioned in the field spec. So that's why it's pulled up two accounts, XYZ also and this Deepika also. But in XYZ, the name itself doesn't have Deepika. It is present in the website, but it pulled up because Deepika word is available in that account. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And one more thing, right? So earlier you were adding lead record, right?
Hmm.
And these Deepika were not present anywhere in account and contact, but it was there in lead, correct?
Yeah.
So if we run this query, so does it, that time it was not returning any of the accounts or any other contact, right? That, yeah, does
So
it
it
mean
is
that?
only looking up into these two objects.
No,
It is,
no. So
yeah,
earlier when you started this, right, you added one more object, lead,
lead.
right?
Yeah.
And lead had the Deepika name in there, right?
Yeah, it was
Since
first name.
account and contact was not having any first name, any column with Deepika, so it was not returning anything. So does it mean that whatever object we are specifying, those should return, those should have that value in the in any of those columns?
No, 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 no. I think it was just a glitch. It didn't had, let
No,
me
at
show you.
that time we were not displaying actually. System.debug was not there for
The
lead
system to
object.
deep was there. It was
Was there?
just that maybe there was something going on, but let me see.
Okay, system.debug not there for lead. That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not there for lead account.
Yeah, that could be a reason.
I think
Okay.
this should work.
I think
Why
the
is it
for
saying?
loop should be lead list where you have different for loop lead con and then
Oh, sorry, right there. Thank you, guys. So now it is looking across lead. Yeah, it is looking across lead as well as all the objects that are there. But if I delete it, not delete it, but let's say we look for Heyman, then it won't give you, and if that name doesn't exist, then it is going to just give you one debug statement and nothing else. Okay, so that's it. It doesn't, the program is not going to fail or anything. It just didn't have any records to display.
And if you don't indexing it, so you're just gonna, what would be the order of execution?
I didn't get you. What do you mean by that?
If you don't index it, like 0, 1, 2.
Then, okay, so then how will it know that you have to get the first, like, you have to somehow get the list of list, right? You know what I'm saying? So this one is a list of list. So from this list of list, you're retrieving each list. Are you getting my point? So you can do something like this, search list, if you don't, see, this makes it easy. See, the return type of the find is a list of list. You cannot do a query on list of list. So what you do is you separated out those lists into these separate, simpler list. From list of list, you separate out the first list, second list, and third list, and then you're iterating over each list individually. This is just to fetch the innermost list. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
See here, see, this list is returning you three different data, right? It is giving you list of contacts, list of accounts, and list of leads. So it became a list of list. So how are you going to iterate over a list of list? You cannot do that, right? For loop is just to iterate over a list. Or you could do something like search result Let's see if this works. Get of 0. And here I'm going to do Deepika. But then it's going, yeah, it is list. Yeah, it basically, this has to be of the type account in order for it to figure it out. Yeah, so you have to do something like this. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Because you have to query from this. Let me see what they're doing. Is there an example? No. Okay. So here, let's see, find Joe in name fields, returning this. Find search query. Find wildcards. No. So basically, what you whenever you're using the find, you will have to make it simpler to return those, to display the records it returned. So that's why I'm doing an indexing. There's no harm in doing indexing because you know this is the order and it is a list. So the first one will be index of 0, the second is index of 1, and the third would be index of 2. And you cannot say list of account, right? Because it is not just returning you list of account, it is returning you list of contacts, it is returning you a list of lead. So what all is called? It's called an S object. So that's why it is considered a list of S object. Does it make sense? Guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is for today's class. Tomorrow we are going to do asynchronous Apex. Did you guys tested any other API that I know I didn't give you the assignment. I was busy this weekend, but did you do another API call out from your org using the REST API?
Yeah, in my
Anybody?
company, I'm doing the testing on that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'll give you an assignment tomorrow, probably by the afternoon, which you can do it over this week. And tomorrow's class is very important, so don't miss it.
That's good. Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Also, Deepa, one last question, right? So when this SOSL runs, so does it fire the multiple SOQL internally based on the object that we specify?
No, I don't think so. Because see here. No, it doesn't. Okay, because if you think through it, how will it find Deepika using an SOQL? You will say something like select ID, comma name from account where name. You're specifying the name,
Yes,
right?
something like that.
Both.
Does it do that in backend or no?
No, it doesn't. Internally, it doesn't convert it into an SOQL. No. It's a different way of finding the result, not the SOQL way. Because
Okay.
it'll become too convoluted, because it will have to look at all the fields. It will have to look at select the name field for Deepika, account number field for Deepika, industry field for Deepika. No, it's not feasible. It just works it in more, I would say it will do a vector search or something behind the scene, but no, it doesn't convert into an SOQL and does the search. Okay? Okay, guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.